Almost everything has an economic value. Goods and services have what economists call intrinsic value, which is the true value of the good or service in itself, independent of the market price. Interestingly, we increasingly purchase virtual goods that don't exist physically. Virtual goods are prominent in video games or online communities and include purchased in-game items such as skins and weapons. In 2017, the global virtual goods market size was valued at $38 billion. As you can imagine, valuing an intangible good can be complicated and unintuitive. But the virtual goods market is booming and is a very authentic way for developers and investors to make real cash. With the concept of something physically non-existent having a real value being so intriguing, let's take a look at some of the most valuable virtual objects in the world. While some games ban the real-world sale of their virtual goods, others allow it. Entropia Universe is a massive multiplayer online role-playing game that actually boasts and functions around its real cash market. It's free to log in and play, but you start with nothing, and everything has a real-world cost. The game uses an in-game currency called PED that has a fixed exchange rate of 10 PED to $1. The average player falls into one of three professions to try and make a return on their investment: hunting, mining, and crafting. There are others, but these are the most common. A player might spend about $20 a month towards items like clothes, weapons, and ammunition to get started. However, above the daily grind, there are some real money moves being made. Being a virtual landowner in Entropia Universe allows players to receive higher rates of return. One of the most famous and newsworthy transactions in this game was the sale of Club Never Die, which was purchased for $635,000 in 2010. Some of the history of Club Never Die is that Never Die, the user, bought the asteroid space resort in 2005 for $100,000. As the first owner, he named it after himself. He claimed to have recouped that cost and break even in only 8 months, and eventually was making $200,000 solely from the club yearly. Never Die profited over $500,000 from the sale of his club alone, so calling this a good investment would be an understatement. But in the same year, an in-game item sold for nearly 10 times the figure Club Never Die sold for. Entropia Universe contains 6 planets, and in December of 2010, C Digital Studios bought an entire planet for $6 million. Planet Calypso was the first planet in the game and existed all alone for 7 years, until a second planet, Rocktropia, was added in April of 2010. The developers of the game, Mindark, wanted to focus their efforts on newer aspects of the game and sought to sell Planet Calypso. At $6 million, Planet Calypso is the single most valuable virtual object in the world and holds this exact record in the Guinness Book of World Records. Entropia Universe hosts a yearly GDP of over $400 million, larger than some small countries. Now, the purchase of Planet Calypso was huge, but not the largest virtual transaction ever. In September of 2019, someone moved over $1 billion in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a virtual currency created as a decentralized alternative to fiat. The Bitcoin ledger is public, but the transaction parties are anonymous. This is how we can know about this outrageously huge purchase, but we can't know who bought it. This September 2019 purchase of 94,504 Bitcoin represents the largest purchase of a virtual good ever recorded. At the time, 1 Bitcoin was valued at $10,600, and so the total transaction amounts to $1 billion. Interestingly, this is not the single largest transaction in terms of Bitcoin. In 2011, someone moved 550,000 Bitcoin. But because the cryptocurrency was valued at only $3, this transaction amounted to roughly $1.6 million. The virtual goods market is always on the rise, and these transactions are sure to be eclipsed eventually. But as the release of this video, these are the most valuable virtual objects and transactions. This is Fake Life Lore. Thanks for watching.